So yeah, part two, the camera cut off, like I said. But basically, so the people became apostates, and they decided to repel from Islam after Muhammad died. Again, he died June 8th, 632. So shortly after that, when they repelled, Caliph Abu Bakr had sent one of his generals, Khalid ibn al-Walid, to handle these people at Jawf Al Yamamah. So when he went there, or at least on his way there, he got within the region. He was in the region of Najd, but he got close enough to where he was able to see the town. So, I want to say a brigade really that was headed by Mujahid ibn Murara went to speak to Khalid ibn al-Walid. The thing is, when they got to him, they got attacked, and then he himself got captured, and they put him in chains or whatnot. And so they continued toward Jawf Al Yamamah, and then that's when the second faction had met up. Well, not necessarily met up, but they traveled to go ahead and fight against Khalid ibn al-Walid. So two characters that I mentioned early, two of the first five that sent the envoy or was a part of the envoy to speak to Muhammad. One of them, Ar-Rijal ibn Anfuwa, and then the other guy was Muhakim, right? So both of them went, and then the thing is, when they traveled toward this army where Khalid was at, from Khalid's vantage point, he seen a group of men, but he had the initial perception that they was fighting amongst each other, because from a distance, all he seen was like glitter and shiny shit, you know what I'm saying? And movement and stuff like that. So the guy that he had captured, one of the chiefs of the Banu Hanifa people, Mujahid ibn Murara, informed him that it was just the look of the weapons that the men had, and the type of weapons that they had, the swords, come from India. So it gave off that impression. So anyway, the fight ensued or whatnot, and then Ar-Rijal ibn Anfuwa, based on the chapter, was immediately fucking killed. And then the other guy ended up getting killed also. I'm talking about Muhakim. He got killed because he had got shot with an arrow. Now, the fucking interesting thing about this, the guy that shot him with the arrow, his name is Ar-Rahman Abu Bakari. R.L. Abu Bakari. He was the son of Abu Bakari, which makes him the brother of Aisha as well. He was the guy that killed Muhakim when he shot him with the arrow. So they defeated the whole entire army, and then the remnants of the people, they ran off to another town that the chapter refers to as an Abad. It wasn't Al Yamamah itself, it was another place. So this place that they ran to, Muhammad's army had followed them there. I know what I'm forgetting. There's something that I'm forgetting. I want to say, like, okay, it was like a two-phase battle, really. The first phase, Khalid ibn al-Walid and them kind of lost it. And then some of his men had lost morale, and then there was a conversation between this particular group that lost morale to where they wanted to head back to Medina to their horses and whatnot. But, based on the conversation, they realized that if they left, it would be in part their fault if Khalid and them lost the entire war. Not to mention, probably they would have got executed. And then they also, as far as the conversation between this whole little small faction of men that lost their morale, was like, okay, if Khalid ibn al-Walid and them win, then it's also a bad look upon them as well. So they decided to rejoin the ranks, and that's when the fight continued. But overall, Khalid ibn al-Walid and his army became the victors, all right? And then they chased the remaining men back to another town. Now, the town that they ended up going to was where, you know, the quote-unquote false prophet, and like I say, I questioned, you know, this whole false prophet thing. You know what I'm saying? I think that's all just, I think that's relative. But that guy, Musaylima ibn Habib, he was at the town that the man had ran to. So when Khalid and his army made it there, they killed him. And then that guy ended up getting killed too. Now the thing is, it's like a little debate as far as this chapter, because you got like 5 potential people that are possibly responsible. Either one of them. You know what I'm saying? It's never really been proven which one of them actually killed that guy. But, you know, one of them was the son. Or actually, I didn't talk about her in the first part. I'm going to go ahead and talk about her. The 2 brothers that got captured, and then one of them got their hands and their feet decapitated. Their mother, her name was Nusaybah. Now she was also important because she participated in every fucking major Islamic battle up onto this point. All right. So supposedly one of her sons, Habib ibn Zayed, may have killed Musaylima ibn Habib. Actually, yeah, Habib ibn Zayed may have killed Musaylima ibn Habib. Me personally, I question that because he had no fucking hands and feet. So how he's going to be able to do it? Then there's like at least 2 guys out of this 5 who some attribute the killing of that guy or the false prophet, quote unquote, to. One, his name is Abu Dujana. And then another one, his name is Washi ibn Harb. Now, I'm not sure about Abu Dujana, but I definitely rule out also Washi ibn Harb. Why? Because he wasn't born, and this is based on Wikipedia because I looked up his name. He wasn't born until fucking 625 AD. Alright? This whole fight or the battle with Yamamah didn't occur until 630. So he would have only been like 5 fucking years old. As a side note, in reading about him, he's also so-called responsible for the death of one of Muhammad's uncles also, another guy named Hamza ibn al-Muttalib. Again, I fucking question that because he died in 526. I believe, no, wait a minute. No, actually he died in 625 AD. And the guy that I mentioned, as far as Washi ibn Harb, was not born until a year later. He was actually born in 626 AD. But so-called the killing of Muhammad's uncle, Hamza ibn al-Muttalib, is also attributed to him as well, so that doesn't make sense to me. And I double-checked when I looked up the name, so I don't know, you know, like I say, the document itself, the origins of an Islamic state. You know, I trust a lot of what they have to say because all of that information from different people that they consider to be hadiths was compiled only 100 years later after the fact. So overall, this is about 1,200 years ago. Now, some of these Wikipedia articles, all of the information that they extract from different books and documents don't necessarily go back that far. So I wonder, is the date of this guy's birth incorrect as far as like the sources that these Wikipedia pages get that information from? All right? I double checked. It was not somebody else's name. It was him. So I question that. But anyway, as far as Musaylima ibn Habib, he's one of the guys that potentially killed him off. Nobody knows for sure, but the fact is that he ended up getting killed during this fight. All right. So after this occurred, Khalid ibn al-Walid decided to march toward Jawf Al Yamamah. So when they continued to march toward there, Mujahid ibn Murara noticed that the army, you know, was kind of like exhausted to an extent. So he gave a suggestion to Khalid. He said, look, your man seemed worn out from all of this fighting, but I'm going to tell you like this. The people that you face, the totality of men that you have faced so far, only represent a small number compared to the whole. So if your men feel tired, exhausted, and worn out so far, imagine what's going to happen when you finally make it to Jawf Al Yamamah. And then he also insisted that Khalid use him to go back and convince the people to convert to Islam. But he also threw another suggestion out there. He said, look, if you take this offer, I'm going to offer you at least half of the captives. And not just that, half of the gold, half of the silver, and half of our coats and mails, our armory that we have. So Khalid ibn al-Walid agreed to these terms. So he sent Mujahid ibn Murara back to Jawf Al Yamamah. The thing is, right, based on the chapter, right, I'm not going to say he fully became a turncoat when he went back. But, you know, they talked about how, like, when he went into the village, you know, he gathered all of the people that was able to fight pretty much. The young boys, the women, and the men. And he told them to put on their coats and mails and their army and their weapons, but also to hold the fort. Then when he went back to Khalid, he told him, he said, the people didn't necessarily agree with the terms, and I couldn't really convince them to agree. But what they did say is they will give half of the jewelry and the fucking armory, but only 1/4, only 25% of the captives. So Khalid ibn Walid agreed upon these terms, and so they ended up paying a sadaqah to him. And by the way, he did get a view of the men as he made his way back toward Yamamah. And according to the chapter, he recognized them as fighters. But anyway, both parties agreed or whatnot, and then these people, I'm not gonna say reconverted, but you know, retook or basically reconverted. They reconverted back to the faith of Islam. That's how the story went. So Khalid ibn al-Walid stayed there for almost basically another year to make sure everything was secure. So in 633 AD, that's when he got a call, an order from Abu Bakr to go back into the land of Al-Bahrain. All right, remember that's east of that. That's basically all of eastern Arabia down into the border of Oman or Oman. The reason why he got that call, and this kind of coincides with the end of the chapter concerning Al-Bahrain, he got that call because a guy who was initially the vizier there, or the governor, his name is Al-Aliyah Al-Hadrami, because he came from the region of Hadramayut. When that land was conquered, Muhammad had made him the governor. But I believe personally, because he lost a fight in the town of Al-Hassa, that he was eventually demoted. And one of the people that he lost the fight with initially, even though he did ended up defeating him, was Kishra. All right, I already talked about Kishra and how he made it as far as Nigeria and all that. That's in one of my other recordings. I'm not going to talk about that right now because I'm scared the phone might cut off and it takes a long time to upload this video on YouTube. So anyway, he got called back there to secure his position as governor again. And also in that chapter concerning Al-Bahrain, the population there wanted him back instead of the other guy named Aban. All right, because when Muhammad demoted Al-Aliyah Al-Hadrami, he basically repositioned him in a small district within Al-Bahrain. It was called Al-Qatif. So Khalid ibn al-Walid was sent to secure his position again as the vizier / governor there, and then that's what happened. So that's all this chapter talks about so far. The next one they go into, like, you know, when the people, well, it's called well, it's basically talking about like when the Arabs became apostates again. So I'm pretty sure they're gonna touch on some of this other information. But this all happened under Abu Bakr. You know what I mean? So that's the next chapter I'm gonna have to break down. But that's everything as far as this chapter so far. So this is part 2 and like I say, I'm trying to make it real short. The only thing I really didn't mention is Al-Ghura, which was a town that Muhammad had given to this guy named Al-Furat. Al-Furat Ibn, I think Al Ajid or something like that. But anyway, his first name was Al Farat, and he was not really that important. He was kind of like a guy, so he kind of knew the routes. So Muhammad had gave him a town. So that's basically everything. And like I say, these ain't nothing but book reports as far as what I'm reading. This is not to do nobody's homework. I am not Islamic. Don't plan on becoming Islamic. This is just information for my overall blog that I want to do as far as my personal analysis of the medieval period in West Africa. Like I say, when I finally get done with this topic, I'm going to something that's completely foreign to this. I don't know what it is. I got a lot of ideas in my mind. But this all is just for documentation purposes. Yeah, that's it. Alright. I guess I'll just show the environment that I'm at, because I don't use notes. This is where the fuck I was sitting at. The toilet over here. This is the bathroom. So that's it. Let me go ahead and stop the